Hello students, I am Rajendra Survase, Assistant Professor in Department of Pharmaceutics at Lokneti Dr. J.D. Power College of Pharmacy, Kalwan, Nasik. So today we are going to discuss the formulation of a small volume parental dosage form. So in this lecture, we will discuss the introduction to the formulation aspects of small volume parenteral. Then the formulation of solutions, formulation studies of solutions, the type of vehicles, selection of vehicle and added substances, processing and manufacturing of small volume parenterals, pilot plant scale up techniques, then special types of small volume parenteral such as the parental suspension, parental emulsion, depot formulation, lyophilized product, etc. Then quality control of small volume parenteral and the stability aspects as per the standard or official standards such as the ICH guideline for the stability, WHO, etc. So see the types of sterile dosage form in general use. So as you know that the injections, radiopharmaceuticals, sterile suspensions, ophthalmic solutions, suspensions and ointment, solution for irrigations, diagnostic agents, peritoneal dialysis solutions, infusion fluid and sterile solids. So these are the some examples of the types of sterile dosage form in general use. Now, the ophthalmic solution nowadays, there are many advances in ophthalmic drug delivery system because of some limitations of ophthalmic solution or ophthalmic eye drop, such as uh, the residence time of a drug in a cul-de-sac. So elimination rate will be uh, high. Elimination rate of ophthalmic solution or eye drop in a cul-de-sac of eye is high as compared to the suspension or a gel. So therefore, to overcome these reasons, nowadays the ophthalmic suspension, ophthalmic ointments, ophthalmic nanoparticle is introduced. Radiopharmaceutical sterile suspensions, diagnostic agents. So these are the some types of sterile dosage form in general use. We will discuss in later on in detail the formulation aspects of these dosage form. Now, the formulation of small volume parenteral. So as you know, the formulation means the list of the list of ingredients including active pharmaceutical ingredient and uh, type of excipient or the list of excipients. So definitely these excipients, so as you know that the role of excipient or polymer in any dosage form or any drug delivery system is to prevent the drug from degradations, to enhance the stability of a drug, to enhance the stability of dosage form, to increase the efficiency, to increase the bioavailability, etc., etc. So these are the some uses or some basic objectives of the excipient and the polymer in dosage form. Now, particularly parenteral dosage form or parenteral suspension or that means the formulation of parenteral solution, parenteral suspension, the vehicle, the selection of proper vehicle means while developing a parenteral solution, what are the different challenges to the formulator? The selection of vehicle, the selection of excipient. Uh, in my one video, mm, that means the optimization, one video is about the optimization technique, means the basic uses or objectives of optimization technique in a pharmaceutical dosage form development. So how this optimization technique is used in a formulation of a small volume parental. Okay, so the formulation of means injection or small volume parental should be the efficient, should be safe, should be qualitative, quantitative, okay, and should be stable, bioavailable. So these are the general requirement. And when you are using a such a type of a optimization technique for the optimizing the formulation, okay. So now suppose we don't know the exact the concentration of these preservative buffers, antioxidant, chelating agent, or some novel polymers, okay. So how to decide to optimize the concentration of these excipients, polymer and the vehicle? Then and then only you can develop a stable, bioavailable and efficient parental a dosage form. So therefore, this is the need of optimization technique in a formulation development. Formulation development of any dosage form. Okay. So say in a formulation of SUP, API is there, the vehicle, water, sterile water for injection. We'll discuss later on the types of water used in a pharmaceutical dosage form. Then types of excipient, solvent and co-solvent. Solvent and co-solvents. So as per the BCS, um, the BCS classification system, biopharmaceutical classification system, gives the idea to the formulator for the development. Okay, means as per their solubility and the permeability, the formulator will decide which is the suitable dosage form of that particular drug or API. So solvent and co-solvent. So solubility enhancement is necessary the respective parental solution, because it's the monophasic solutions clearly. So the drug should be solubilized in a given solvent or vehicle. It may be aqueous or non-aqueous. So sometimes there is need to add the co-solvents. So the selection of solvent and co-solvent is again important. Oil of vegetable origins, the polymeric and surface active the compounds, the polymers. Nowadays means, as I said, the depot suspension means the modified or the advanced form of parental dosage form. You can modify the release of a drug from the parental suspension. Parental suspension means the sustained release effect we will get with the parental dosage form, such as the modified tablet, SR formulation, then delay release formulation. So the polymers, say the cellulose derivatives like HPMC, hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose, K4M, K100M, okay. Then udrazit polymer, methacrylic acid derivatives is there, okay. Then the polyethylene glycol, different grades of polyethylene glycol is available in the market, 600, 6000, 60,000, okay, etc. Okay, now the polymer and a surface active agent, chelating agents, antioxidant to avoid the oxidation of API. Okay, so therefore the chelating agent is necessary. Then preservatives, the concentration of preservatives such as the, for example, okay, BKC, benzalkonium chloride is widely used in means as a preservative in ophthalmic preparation, buffer to register change in pH values, bulking agent, protectant, tonicity adjustment. So these are the some example of excipients and polymer and vehicle used in a formulation study. Now, so formulation study means say suppose we want to develop a even formulation of SVP, for example solutions. So the solution formulation of SVP solution. So these are the means, so solvent is necessary, then oils of vegetable origin or polymeric chelating agent, antioxidant, preservatives, buffer, bulking agent, etc., etc. So how to study the formulation aspects? So because each and every parameter, see the good example, uh, as you know, there are many factors affecting on the dissolution. Okay, so dissolution of a drug from a tablet, for example, magnesium stearate. So magnesium stearate is a metallic stearate. Okay, metallic stearate. So what is the impact of magnesium stearate on a dissolution efficiency? So definitely, the magnesium stearates affecting on or to retard the dissolution of a drug from tablet. Suppose you are using a maximum or more than 2% uh, magnesium stearate in a tablet. So definitely the magnesium stearate will try to form a metallic coat around the drug molecule and retard the release of a drug from this coat. So that is what this formulation related factor, because magnesium stearate is a lubricant, and the use of lubricant to minimize the friction in between the materials and the die and punches, upper punches and lower punches. Okay, but this magnesium stearate is a excipient. Okay, is added in the formulation. So we should know the properties of a solvent, co-solvents, oil, aqueous or non-aqueous, the polymer, surface active agent, chelating agent, their physical, chemical properties, antioxidant, preservatives, buffers, each and every, because each and every, because see, in a we have already discussed in optimization technique in pharmaceuticals, means there are many variables, means independent variable and dependent variable. So these are the, this type of excipients will be independent variable. What? Independent variable. See how the solvent and co-solvent, the concentration of a solvent and a co-solvent will be a independent variable, or the antioxidant or preservatives. And what will be the dependent variable? Okay, so dependent variable will be sedimentation rate. Okay, sedimentation rate, solubilization, okay, particle size. So these are the, okay, this will be a dependent variable. So there is a direct connection in between the dependent and independent variable. We don't have the time to study the each and every parameter at all levels. Okay, suppose I want to develop a formulation of SOAP by using some excipients, okay, in FND. So I have to know about the physical, chemical, microbiological property of the each and every excipients polymer which is used in particular formulation. Okay, said formulation. And also I should know about the standard limits. Okay, standard values, reference standard, also called as a reference standard, standards values of these excipients polymers. And then after formulation, suppose after formulation we are going to perform some QC testing of this formulation, and then matches with the standard or reference standard. So now there is a direct connection in between, as I said, okay, the independent variables and dependent variables. So within a limited, I told you we don't have a, much time, okay, for the means study the each and every parameter at all levels. All level means chelating agent, 1%, 2%. Suppose in F1 formulation we are using a 1% chelating agent, then F2 formulation we are going to use a 2%, then 3%, 4%, 5%. This is not good way. Okay, so on a trial and error basis, how to decide the levels of chelating agent or any excipients? So on a trial and error basis, you can decide the low, medium, high level. Okay, so 5% will be low level, or just means with the references or with the literature. Okay, so we can get an idea about their the standard limits, or the low, medium, and the high level of that particular excipient or polymers. So this is what the formulation study. Okay, sometimes the effect of antioxidant on the product characteristics, sometimes the effect of preservatives. Okay, so try to use the concentration or the quantities of the excipient. Okay, minimum quantity to be used, minimum quantity, then the efficient, because sometimes what will happen, the preservatives and other excipients maybe, okay, shows some adverse effect on a body. So therefore the minimum concentration of this excipient is necessary. So that is what the main or basic objectives of the formulation study of small volume parent. See, the types of water. The hard water, they consist in organic mineral, for example, all water in lake, river, on the ground and in deep wells. Hard water. Boiled water help remove some of the germ. Okay, boiled water after boiling. Then raw water, this has not been boiled. Raw water may be hard or soft as rainwater, and it contains the millions of germ and viruses. Rainwater, this has been condensed from the clouds. Snow water, this is a frozen rain. Freezing does not eliminate any germs. Filtered water, this water has passed through a fine strainer called a filter. Soft water, it may contain many trace minerals and chemicals, viruses and bacteria. Reverse osmosis, this is a system of water purification which allows the pre-filtered water to be forced through a semi-permeable membrane to separate impurities from our drinking water. Deionized water, a process of exchanging hard ion for soft, and distilled water, this is the water that has been turned into the steam so that all its impurity like behind. Okay, so these are the some types of. Now the aqueous vehicle, so water for injection, what USP water for injection, highly purified water used as a vehicle for injectable preparations and which will be subsequently sterilized. USP requirement include not more than 10 parts per million of a solid total solids, and pH of 5 to 7. Water for injections may prepared by either distillation or reverse osmosis. So the RO, reverse osmosis, and distillation, this mechanism or processes are generally used to prepare the water for injection and used for the preparation of sterile dosage forms. Stored for less than 24 hours at a room temperature or for a longer times at a specific temperature should be met USP pyrogen test should be, because the water for injection is the biggest source of a pyrogen contamination. So stored for less than 24 hours at a room temperature or for longer times at a specific temperature should be made to USP pyrogen test, and it may not contain any added substances or any other dust particle or foreign particles, contaminants, and stored in a chemically resistant tank. Uh, Bacteriostatic water for injections. This type of water used for making parenteral solution prepared under aseptic condition and not terminally sterilization. Not terminal sterilization. So therefore, directly instead of water for injection, so bacteriostatic water for injection is used. Okay, and need to meet the USP sterility test. Okay, So this is about the bacteriostatic water for injection. Um, Before or without terminal sterilization, or this type of water used for making parenteral solution prepared under aseptic conditions and not terminal sterilization. Okay,